Hello, and welcome to the Journey with Janey podcast. I think we're on to episode 29, so welcome if you're a new listener, new viewer to the podcast. And this morning, I'm taking a different tact, not a teaching session. I am going to read to you this morning from my Janey You Never Realise. It's also behind me, and this is my way of showing you what you can achieve in life if you choose to do so. When I joined Dynamite Lifestyle in November 2022, one of the first things that we get asked to do is set a goal. And I'm sure I've talked about this before, about my first goal was to write a book. I had no idea what kind of book I wanted to write. And to be honest, this was a surprise to me that I managed to complete launch and do it within the space of 6 months. I had no idea how to write a book. And that is one of the things that you learn when you're growing. You don't have to know how to do everything. You can actually ask people. You can learn from other people. And we all have to stick to our own zone of genius and do what we're good at. So for me, it's the writing process and creating the actual physical book that goes out for sale is the zone of genius for somebody else. And it's sticking to the setting a goal. Obviously, I wrote this one and then I was like, oh, there's so much going on in my life. So my second book is about my journey through mentorship and beyond, and where I see my goal in the future. Obviously, I've grown a lot. These books were both released in 2023, May and October. And after that, I continued to study in the mentorship and grow me and find me inside. As we know, and I've talked about a lot, we need to be comfortable with who we are as a person, comfortable with loving ourselves first before we can help others. So I went on a journey of finding myself, my true authentic self, which you see here today. And I'm still growing on a daily basis, growing, learning. And I know I mention it all the time, and I'm looking out the window, the sun's shining on the beautiful tree across the field from here, and the leaves are on the tree, and it's creating shade for the animals at this time of year because it's obviously quite warm with us at the moment. So in the winter, there's nothing there. There's no, but then the animals don't need the shade of the tree. So nature knows best. And as you walk amongst nature, it's surprising how you can learn from it. And always remember, nature never gets it wrong. One of the big things that we talk about is you wouldn't plant the weeds in the garden, but they still grow. And if you wanted to put some beautiful plants in your garden, you would weed it first. You would weed out all the weeds and make it nice for your beautiful plants to grow in. Fair enough, you could plant the flowers in the garden as it is, and they possibly would grow, but I think you get the idea. You need to plant the seeds in a beautiful place so you can reap what you sow. And this is the learning that has been so profound for me, and the realization recently that actually nature and me living where I live has been the healing process that I needed following the death of Jonathan and Mum. And delving deep into other grief as well throughout my life. I think I've maybe touched on this as well. It's not just about the death of somebody. There's all sorts of different things. Delving back into my past as I grew up and different things that have affected my life. And also the environment that we grow up in and the things that are passed down to us that we don't even realize. We're soaking it all in as we grow up. So we take on the roles of, not the roles, take on the values of our parents, grandparents, or the environment that we grow up in. So it's understanding that you can actually change these and you can learn new ways. And the best way probably to describe that is, as a farmer, when you're out and about, you see the tracks that the animals walk on a regular basis. Some tracks are well worn, some tracks are, you can just see where they've walked. Also the quad bike, when we're going around checking the sheep, if you take the same track every day, you can see the marks on the grass. And that is what I'm trying to get at. If those are ingrained into us as we grow up, and that's what we soak in and believe as being the way we want to be and the way we are. And if we want to change that, we have to start and make our own path. So we have to start and walk and tread the lines of the path that we want to walk on and create our own path for life. So that is my lesson for today, that we can change things if we want to. I needed to find somebody to help me to do that, to guide me, to give me the tools to actually start and change this path, to understand who I am and take the responsibility of, for me, for myself, to become the person that I am today. And obviously I am always growing. And that is probably more than what I was going to give you today. And I'm going to read the introduction from the book, which is what I said I was going to do. And I might read the first chapter. And I would love some feedback. If any of you would like to comment, I know some of you have actually read the book. Some of my listeners on here have actually read the book. And just let me know what you think. So I shall start. Janey, you never realise. Introduction. Welcome to my world, said Jane, to no one in particular. This seemed to be an increasing habit, especially whilst out walking the dogs. Bella the black and white Springer Spaniel and Molly the collie. Jane had heard dogs were good listeners, and a good thing too. They didn't answer back. After a big sigh, which seemed to be a regular occurrence, Jane continued her daily walk, talking to herself occasionally as she went. Hey-ho, life is life, and well, something will happen, something will get sorted, life will be good eventually, time is a good healer. Sick of hearing that one, she said to the dogs. The wind and rain didn't help Jane's mood. It was blowing a hoolie and she was soaked through, but the dogs were enjoying their run around the fields of the family farm in the hills of Northumberland. On the plus side, thankfully, there was nobody to hear Jane's ramblings, as some days they were unrepeatable. It is a daily ritual to let it all out whilst walking, and some days feel better than others. There is so much to love in the countryside, and Jane looks for as much of the good as she can. On a sunny, frosty morning in the depths of winter, it is astonishing to see the cobwebs on the bracken bushes, and is a true life form. Many photos of these have been taken over the years. Being positive is a struggle currently for Jane. and her mind is so jumbled. Life has been tough, a challenge, and some days she doesn't know how she's able to function. The last 3 years have seen a dramatic change to the life that Jane was living. Life is life, and we take the rough with the smooth. Over the last 3 years, life has thrown some huge curveballs at me. Jane continued on her ramblings. This has been hard. What is normal life? It seems like a lifetime ago. Rewind 50 years and a beautiful baby girl was brought into the world. A Thursday's child has far to go, and how right that turned out to be. Chapter 1. It's the journey and who you become. Travelling back in time to a world without worry. Little Jane woke up in her tiny but cosy bedroom, yawned and stretched. The cosy little room was her safe space, and she loved it. The sun was shining through the curtains, and today was going to be a good day. Or was it? Life was good most days, but school was just school. How could other children say they enjoyed it? You two moving up there? Came the voice of her mum from downstairs. Thomas, Jane's younger brother, was obviously as excited as she was to be getting up for school. They would both rather be helping out at home. It was lambing time on the farm, and there was always plenty to do. Fetching and carrying water, as well as feed, or even feeding the pet lambs. Excuse me. It was Thursday, so only today and tomorrow at school, and then they could get totally immersed into helping out over the weekend. From a young age, they had been involved with all aspects of the farm, and they both loved being part of it. The fun of being allowed to wander freely and explore was a gift of growing up on the farm. All their friends were extremely jealous that they had this huge playground to experience. Although at times, Jane didn't see it that way. Friends were always keen to offer to help out, just so they could enjoy the freedom that Jane and Thomas had on a daily basis. Jane and Thomas made it down for breakfast just in the nick of time to grab a quick bowl of cereal before jumping into the car to make the short trip up the road to school. Mum at the wheel as always. Dad didn't have time as he had all the daily jobs to do. Mum waved them both off at the school gates. Have fun today, kids. Her usual comment that was repeated on a daily basis. No doubt she'd be stood there for half an hour chatting to the other mums, or maybe stop at the post office to chat to her old school friend Chris, the postmaster. It was almost a ritual to stop off at the post office and get something. I am sure that it was just an excuse to catch up on the village gossip, but on reflection, it did mean we got a 10p mix-up. Regular as clockwork if we had been out anywhere. Oh, I'd better stop to see if Chris has those nice cakes in, Mum would say, or we need some bread before Harry the baker van gets here on Friday. Chris always made us laugh and always added extra sweets to our 10p mix-up. Chris and Mum had also gone to the village school and were lifelong friends. Today was a good day as Jane and Thomas had been told they could walk home from school on their own. Mum normally met them at the school gates, but not today. Mum would be helping Dad with the lambing jobs, so it meant they both felt quite grown up. It also meant they too could call at the post office or the shop and get sweets. School was school, and neither Jane nor Thomas actually enjoyed it. But the day passed quickly, and they were soon dashing out the school gates. They passed all the waiting mums, all waving and saying hello to them, but neither of them paid any attention. They were focused on one thing and one thing only: sweets, and maybe a passing thought of being allowed to help out when they got home. They started their first solo walk home, feeling extremely proud of themselves. They could do this. Their first chance of independence and a chance to visit the shops without Mum or Grandma, as the saying goes, like kids in a sweetie shop. Should we stop at the shop or the post office? Thomas asked with a cheeky grin on his face. I don't mind, either, replied Jane, not being too bothered, just thinking sweets. Let's do the post office, said Thomas. They quickened their pace and made it to the post office in record time. It was a good thing that, although the village is only small, they had the choice of both a post office and a shop. The bell on the door rang as they entered the post office. Chris was behind the counter and gave them both a raised eyebrow. Hello, you two. Now I wonder what you are after, he questioned knowingly. Jane and Thomas looked at each other and laughed. Were they that predictable? 10p mix-up, please, said Jane. Oh, and a little white mouse for Penny the dog. Coming up. Do you want to choose? Asked Chris. No, you choose, smiled Jane. Chris handed Jane her sweets in the little white paper bag. Now then, Thomas. What you after? Asked Chris. The same, but no mouse for Penny. I'll have one for me. Oh, and just put them on Grandma's paper, Bill, replied Thomas. They all laughed. Poor Grandma got stung for all of their sweets and treats at the post office. But it was never an issue. As her only grandchildren, they were spoilt rotten. They waved bye to Chris and headed down the steep bank home, both laughing and giggling. They were paying no attention to the world around them, just eating their sweets as they went. Maybe this was the way forward. Sweets every night on the way home from school. Their laughter was short-lived, though, as Mum had been expecting them straight home, although they thought she knew where they had been. Get your wellies on and we'll head out and feed the sheep in the pens to help out Dad, said Mum. Oh, and put those sweet bags in the bin if you're finished. So she didn't know. Or did she? Yes, she did. Of course she did. How do mums always know? Jane and Thomas were sure Mum had some kind of radar or tracking device on them. So there you go. There's chapter 1, a little intro to my book. And I haven't actually read this before. I didn't read it after I'd written it. It went straight off to my editor. So it is my raw writing when I actually wrote it. It is as it was. So I shall wait for your feedback to see if you want me to read more. And I will leave it with that. Think about being more childlike. Happy Wednesday.
Journey with Janey podcast. Always remember, there is something within you that knows no limits. It's time to believe in you. Click the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I love reading your reviews and comments, so right away. So, if you're ready to take those small steps to transform your true self, let's do life together.